welcome to the hard sell, where the stick in the swill-bucket rattles back. And today we have another Have a Break.
Have a break.
Thank you. That comes from a viewer request. Specifically, Griff Lane. And if you'd like to make a request, you can use the contact form at bobthefish.org.uk, or better yet, join the Patreon at patreon.com/applemask, where for as little as £1 a month, you can get these episodes a week in advance, an ongoing history of the BBC, and a series of 3-minute riffs on commercial breaks. And some shoes. You may have noticed that ITV have brought back a whole bunch of old light entertainment formats from the past lately, because they have absolutely no ideas whatsoever anymore. There's been new versions of Wheel of Fortune, Family Fortunes, although that's fucked until they find a new host, a third attempt at Jeopardy, under the assumption that if Stephen Fry can't make it work, no one can, Deal or No Deal, which wasn't even on ITV the first time, Bullseye, with Andrew Flintoff, although I'd love to see someone try to adapt cricket into a light entertainment format. And as a one-off over Christmas, You Bet, which is the one this episode revolves around, sorry. You Bet has nothing to do with ducks or Groucho Marx or Bill Cosby, thank God. This was a German format brought to ITV in 1988, initially as a vehicle for Bruce Forsyth, who was having a bit of a quiet period in his career at the time.
You want to bet me? Yeah! Next Saturday at 7:05 on YTV.
When he got the Generation game back, it was revamped and given to Matthew Kelly, a presenter I've always found inherently likeable and engaging. Then he got stars in their eyes and was replaced with Darren Day, a presenter no one has ever found likeable in any way. The following year they stopped bothering. The premise involves various members of the public showing up claiming to be able to do something unlikely, from genuinely impressive stunts like driving a truck for a mile on its back wheels or completing 50 basketball dunks in a minute, to the quite stupid but nonetheless perversely impressive, like recognising a model of car from the sound of the door closing. Meanwhile, to justify the title, the studio audience, plus a panel of celebrities, Bob Carroll, G's, Mr. Motivator, David Yip the Chinese Detective, that sort of level, would lay bets on whether or not they were full of shit. And so you see how all this amounts to a game show. It was quite popular for a while as an alternative to Noel's House Party, until Darren Day showed up and killed it. But at Christmas 2024, as part of some kind of campaign or possibly breakdown ITV were having, it was revived for 2 special episodes hosted by Stephen Mulhern and Holly Willoughby, because ITV seemed barely aware that anyone else exists besides Ant and Dec. But we're going back to 1995, Matthew Kelly's last series, when the show was at its glossiest. Specifically the episode from April the 4th, which for the record was won by Jessica Martin. So the commercials begin with a question.
Why pay more?
Why indeed? Why pay more? More than what?
With a £2 jar of our no-frills orange marmalade for just 85p. Maybe you should be shopping at Kwik Save.
Yes, it's Kwik Save, the poor but clean discount store favoured by the unemployed, because their prices really were disturbingly low. They were particularly famous for their No Frills own brand range, and when they said no frills, they meant it. Look at the packaging. The most grimly utilitarian label imaginable, in a military-looking font just to rub it in. In fact, it looks like military rations. It's downright forbidding. Mind you, the visuals of the advert don't help. The grimy walls and the shadows. It's like it's taking place in prison. Marmalade prison. William Hurt in Altered States. 2 months later, he's learned to live with his condition. If he gets on top of him, he just beats the shit out of the walls for a couple of minutes in the nude.
If you suffer from the pain of indigestion and heartburn,
Well, join the club. Eat fewer pickled onions.
try Remegel. As you chew, it forms a soothing liquid that gives fast, effective relief. So, for indigestion pain, Remegel is an ideal solution.
And stop glowing orange, that's just acting out. It's only indigestion. Most indigestion tablets you see are as Ian Holm describes, rather like squares of chalk that you grind up with your teeth. Some people apparently don't like that, so here's Remegel, which is chewy with a liquid centre or something. Personally, I prefer the honest chalkiness of the Rennie, but it's nice that people have the option.
Remegel. It's chewy, not chalky.
You got a hold on me, and it feels so fine.
Gillette Sensor for Women.
Oh goody, pink tax.
Gillette Sensor for Women. No other razor feels like it. A unique handle for total control.
The Gillette Sensor for Women. Absolutely no different in any way that matters from the one for men. Except that it's for women. Which basically means it's crispy white and clean, like the ladies' lavatories, and the handle is ribbed. For her pleasure. Oh, also it's about £1.50 more expensive for no reason at all. That's the pink tax, and it still exists in many places. When it makes toiletries more expensive, it's irritating. When it restricts access to menstrual or contraceptive medicines that might very well prove vital to live, it's downright dangerous. Fortunately, the UK prohibited it a couple of years ago, although I'm sure there's still workarounds. But back to the advert.
Gonna hold on to this feeling and never let it go.
Feel how its spring-mounted blades and pivoting head hold onto every curve, making it even safer and so incredibly smooth.
It's an interesting study in gender in advertising. In format, it's very similar to the Best a Man Can Get campaign that was running at the same time. Well, in fact, it's basically identical. A montage of cinematically shot vignettes of women, in this case, living their best lives. It's the tone that's different, as you'd expect. Instead of musk-scented images of macho yet sensitive men at work and play, accompanied by pumping soft rock, courtesy of John Parr, it's all ladies lounging and laughing to a generic country ballad. As you'd expect. The product shots aren't thrusting and zooming, they're gently panning. And there's a small motif of clear water as well to represent purity. All as you'd expect. Gillette, for her. But the advertisers still couldn't help themselves. There's plenty of lingering shots of excellent legs. Well, it's part of the product's utility. What can I say? They took the opportunity. But more than that, there's a kind of subliminal message wherein women are being very quietly told that their function in society is as some kind of adjunct to a man. Just the odd hint. You buy this product to make yourself look good, yes, but you're not necessarily looking good for yourself. You're looking good for him. Even the song is essentially about being a man's possession, at least by one way of looking at it. I must stress that little, if any, of this might be deliberate, just an automatic reflection of how women's roles were seen at the time. There's certainly no expression of female independence here.
Safer and so incredibly smooth. Sensor for Women, a razor worth holding on to.
Music? Who needs it? We got Goodfellas American-style pizza. The decentest, honestest I think there is. Right, Frankie?
Hey, it's Italian-American pizza, so who wants a bunch of cliches over here? Yeah, we got all the stereotypes you need piping hot. Forget about it.
You want deep pan? Fine. With a light and crispy base? Dandy. You like pepperoni? Bada bing. You got juicy tomatoes.
Tomatoes!
Tomatoes, herbs even. Right, kid? Go on. Say cheese.
See? Since the film with the same name came out, fast-talking Scorsese-type mafiosos, as opposed to the menacing ritualistic Godfather model, were an inherently cool trope, and remain so to this day. A brand of frozen pizzas has a better excuse than most to hop on the bandwagon. It's not shot like Scorsese, you know. More like a young director trying to get noticed by deploying all the fashionable tricks in 1995. The only fly in the ointment is that Goodfellas pizza isn't Italian-American, or anything American. It's Irish. See that disclaimer? The brand was launched a mere 2 years earlier by a company called Green Isle Foods on a giveaway, based in County Kildare. That was then, of course. The brand is now owned by a forbidding British-American conglomerate registered in the Virgin Islands for tax purposes. So there's that. At least they do have an authentic American frontman, although not an Italian. That is in fact Rolf Saxon, Virginia-born veteran of several generic American roles in British television while he lived here, arguably best known as the voice of floppy-head milquetoast George Stobart from the Broken Sword series.
With mounting excitement, I felt something between my fingers.
He also played the goat. Fuck you, goat!
Now shoot, out of my restaurant. Goodfellas American-style pizza, now available in your area. From stores with ice compartments.
Yes, yes, yes!
Gosh, is that a woman partaking in sexual relations? No, of course it isn't. How could you possibly think that? She's just excited because she can wear a dress. Allow her friend, occupying the next cubicle down for what can only be assumed to be voyeuristic reasons, to explain.
It's all right. It's a very special moment for my friend Sam. She's lost 3 stone with Weight Watchers and she's just got into a size 12.
You could lose at least 6 pounds in your first 2 weeks with the new Weight Watchers program.
Yes, it's Weight Watchers. I suppose they figured a lot of fat people were sitting around watching You Better for Saturday night. If you're not interested in Weight Watchers, then please enjoy this montage of nice arses instead.
In fact, if you don't, we'll give you a week free. That's guaranteed. Plus, join now and register free. Save £9. Now, isn't that worth getting excited about?
Yes!
Ben, seen this? You can get £1 off new tins of paint if you take old ones back to Do It All.
Well, this is an exciting life these people have, isn't it? Crowded into a darkly lit room, talking listlessly about the latest special offers from various retail chains. I definitely want to emulate these people.
That's interesting. Old tins of paint are no good to anyone.
I'm thinking either they're Catholics, or they just don't know how children happen.
Except at Do It All's Great Paint Trade-In.
And then for some reason the rest of the advert just gives up and starts telling the story in photos instead. At least Martin Clune still sounds reasonably content.
Bring in an old tin and you'll get £1 off a new one. Another great offer so that together we can do it all.
Finally, some even more obnoxious children. Those are animated fish. In reality. That's awesome. You shouldn't be mocking them. You should be applauding their existence. Little brats. God, they just get no respect whatsoever. So the point of all these sea creatures buying train tickets to the sound of Beanfields by the Penguin Cafe Orchestra is to sort of obliquely suggest that there's a better route between France and Britain now than the sea. You know, that Channel Tunnel. It had finally opened in 1994 and it was all very exciting. This ain't Eurostar, however. This is the Shuttle, operated by the same people who run the tunnel itself. It's not a passenger train service per se. You drive your car into it and then out again. It's basically a freight train, which is the other half of the business, repurposed as a car ferry. It's a quick and cheap way to use the tunnel, and you can bring your dog, provided it's microchipped and you've done all the arse-aching work to earn a health certificate.
There's now a new and easy way to cross the channel.
As long as you're going to Calais or Folkestone, that is. Because that is all they do. Eurostar's the one that's a proper train and goes to and from more than one place.
For your list shuttle brochure, call 0990 700 800 or see your travel agent.
And then we're back with the shiny, shiny floor of You Bet for more stunts and challenges and downright bollocks. Like I said, this was the alternative to Noel's house party this time. Actually, now I think of it, Noel's house party generally ran from October to March, so it wouldn't have been on at this point. Then we fire up the BBC Genome, the archive of all the TV and radio listings from the dawn of time, and see what he was actually up against. Look, props. It was Simon Mayo's Confessions. Anyone even remember they made a TV series out of that? Well, they did, for 3 years, despite it not really having a television-friendly format. But definitely preferable to Darren Day's You Bet, or indeed Darren Day's anything, by several orders of magnitude. Can we learn anything about You Bet's assumed audience from the advertising? Well, there's a sense that a certain amount of women are thought to have been watching for whatever reason, hence the Ladies' Razor and the explicitly female-aimed Weight Watchers ad. But mostly the advertisers have apparently decided that anyone sitting around watching You Bet on purpose is clearly proletarian as they come. And that's just apparent from Kwik choosing to be here, let alone the frozen pizzas. Even the shuttle is the relatively cheap and easy option for a holiday abroad, although they don't use that angle in the advertising. Is any of this fair or accurate? Well, the advertising companies and the airtime merchants would have spent thousands on research to find out, and who are we to contradict that? Didn't save Kwik from collapse 10 years later, although the name lingers on. Or do it all even sooner. Probably not Matthew Kelly's fault, though. You just sat through a Bob the Fish production. Nice! If you haven't already, you absolutely must check out bobthefish.org.uk. Literally hundreds more videos not unlike that one, adding up to days worth of entertainment and all absolutely free. But if you're not a cold-hearted skinflint, you can always support us on Patreon. For as little as anything at all, you can make programs like the one you just watched possible in the first place, and become eligible for bonus material such as glimpses of the book I'm writing about the BBC, monthly riffings on random commercial breaks, the complete archives of the angry political satire magazine Two Sons, and even the odd very occasional bonus video essay unavailable anywhere else. If nothing else, you should prevent me from starving and or freezing to death in the foreseeable future, so that'd be nice. No pressure or anything. bobthefish.org.uk. You make it what it is.